Hi everyone, this is Linda from Lilybug's Library. So just coming to you today with a little bit of an update on what I've read so far. So the first book that I read, we're doing all little spooky theme sort of things. So I read Covert Curses, which was the one that had Simon the cat in it that I talked about last time. So Victoria, the main character, she has plant magic, but she needs to learn how to use it. So she is sent to, I believe it's, yeah, to Ireland to learn from the coven there about the best use of her plant magic. So they send her to Maeve, who is, I guess, an herbologist, who is teaching her about plant magic. And Maeve is very kind of crusty and, just really wants to be left with her plants. She doesn't really care much for people. But kind of reminds me of Professor Sprout from Harry Potter, only a little crankier. And so then there's also her grandson Colin, who picks Victoria up from the train station and takes her to see his grandmother and to meet the coven and things. And so as time goes on, someone ends up dead. Colin ends up accused, and so it's up to Victoria to try and figure out who it was that did this murder and to get Colin off. She's kind of sweet on Colin, and really doesn't think that it was him that did it. His grandmother Maeve is really pushing to have him released and is very vocal about it. But she needs to come up with some kind of proof that he didn't do this. And the whole area is magical. It's it's got witches, it's got fairies and selkies and mer people and changeling. It's the whole thing. And then Victoria's cat Simon, who is a black cat that's her familiar, is a little bit disobedient, but he loves her and he's wants to take care of her and keep her safe. But he also wants to explore and see what else he can find out. So it was really good. I give it a 5 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. Really wrapped me up in that whole town. Had a great small town feel to it. She meets her cousins there, as I think they're cousins. I can't remember if they're cousins or just part of this coven, but she meets her, we'll say they're her cousins there, and they're part of the whole town as well, and really kind of take her under their wing. And so, yeah, it was very good. Now, I did tend to get it mixed up with a different book. And it's not that Covert Curses wasn't great. It is, but after a while, when you read one paranormal after another, they start to kind of blend a little bit. But the other one I read was Lattes and Spirits by Lynn Troy. And so it was the first of the Mystic Brews series, and it was very good as well. So April Storm is the main character's name, and she has an ex-boyfriend who is dead, but she can see his ghost. And to make it even a little stranger, apparently when he died because he crashed into this truck full of chickens with his motorbike. And so now there's also dead chickens, and every now and again a chicken feather floats down as she's talking to him. But anyway, she goes to stay with her aunt. Maybe it was her that had the cousins. Doesn't matter. Anyway, she goes to stay with her aunt to help her run this cafe in Wales. And she buys like a big espresso machine, and she's, doing all of that. And she soon finds out that not only can she see and hear ghosts, but that she's actually a powerful witch in her own right. And again, this is another magical town, so there's a lot of different magical characters. There's pixies, there's um, demons, although not, there wasn't really any. The word demon always makes me think like, oh, it's going to be scary, but really wasn't. It was, it's like, we'll say a small d. And so there was lots of things going on there. So as she's learning her craft and also learning to, interact with the town and meet the people there, it turns out that her ex-boyfriend, who's dead, brings this cricket player to her who is also dead. And he was murdered, and he tells her about it, and then she has to like tell her aunt, and they're trying to discover who murdered him. And along the way, she meets a lot of people in the town and really gets kind of caught up in the whole atmosphere there. And it was, like I said, it was really good. There's a secret agents. There's a talking cat. Her cat was not as. That was the only thing I wasn't crazy about, because her cat is wasn't meant to be a familiar. Her cat was, I don't know, I can't remember now if the cat was a witch initially or what exactly it was, but he got cursed into being a familiar for like a century because he threw up on the Fey Queen's shoes, I think, and so he has to be a familiar. But the interaction between them, I didn't like as much as the one in Covert Curses that was a little more loving. For the most part, I thought theirs was a little, I guess it was supposed to be, I don't know, cute banter, but I thought it was just a little bit nasty at times. So that part I didn't care for. But the rest of it was great. I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. And I would definitely read another one of the Mystic Brews ones. I'd be interested to see kind of what happens after. So yeah, was good. The other one I tried to read was Candy Corn Murder. I couldn't get through it. I DNF'd it after about, I think I was on chapter 6, maybe. Um, it may have gotten better. It just wasn't for me. I By the time I got to that chapter, still no one had died. There was also a part of one chapter where it was back in the past, and it seemed as though that was going to be connected to what was happening then. But was happening in the past didn't seem very cozy to me, and so I didn't care for that. So I eventually gave up on chapter 6 and decided to move on to something else. So that's what I've read so far. Now, I'm also working on another book that I'll tell you about when I'm finished. But it's not a Halloween book, it's actually more like a Christmas book. But I received an ARC of it, and it's been amazing. So that one's coming. But I also had a couple that I had picked up that I thought I would mention. So one was the Happy Hollisters. It's Happy Hollisters on a River Trip, and I got it from Amazon, I believe. But it looks like it must have been from someone's, like an Amazon reseller or something, because it looks like it came from Value Village at some point. But I haven't read a Happy Hollister since I was a kid, so I'm really interested to read it and see what I think. Whether it lives up now to what a young person would want to read, or whether it's too dated. So we'll see. But do love the inside cover. You can see all the kids, and it's got a little bit of blue in some of it, and I remember that as a kid, and even I'll slip the jacket off here. Even those red jackets that they always came in, I always thought those. Yeah, here we go. So I love the fact that they put some artwork on it, and it's I always thought it was really well made. So at some point I'm going to do a month maybe where I read nothing but Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, Trixie Belden, the Happy Hollisters. We'll go back in my childhood and see how that turns out. But for now, I've got it, and I'll put it on the shelf and wait. Excuse me. Still fighting this cold, so it's getting there, but it's taking a while. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to mention is a book that I just purchased, and I'm really excited about it, and I hope that we're going to be able to do something with it. Maybe not until the new year, but it would be a good thing for the new year, I think. So it's called A Literary Tea Party by Alison Walsh. So it has recipes in it for treats as well as recipes for different kinds of tea. And they all have to do with different books. So let's see, I'll find one here. So there's Big Apple Hand Pies from James and the Giant Peach. And then it tells you the tea pairing is summery peach tea with it. So there's a bit of a picture of it. And there's another one, like it's Panthers Pasties from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Let me see, we've got bread and muffins here. There's toasted cheese buns from Treasure Island. There's all kinds of different recipes in it, and beautiful, beautiful illustrations of the things that are made. So I'm really, this one looks really good. It's, where's this one from? And it's new, so the pages stick. Fairy Dust Star Cookies from Peter Pan. And the tea pairing is called Second Star to the Right. And there's the cookies for it. So yeah, it looks really good. What I'm thinking of doing come the new year, assuming that I'm healthy enough to do that, I would like to maybe make one of the recipes that are in it and the tea, as well as like during a video, and then talk about books once we've got our tea and our cookies. And yeah, so I was thinking we might give that a try in the new year. But in the meantime, like I said, it's a beautiful book, and I know the holidays and things are coming up. So if you know anybody out there who loves to read and loves to bake and drink tea, I mean, it would be a great addition for them. And no, I'm not getting paid to say that. I just think it's a nice book. All right, so that's it for today. I'm going to finish the 4 or 5 books I have on the go, and continue on with my TBR list. One thing I know I mentioned it in the last video, but I'm not sure I was actually through the book, was the Vampires Knitting Club. I forgot about that one. So that was an Audible book that I was listening to, and that was a really good book as well. I was really impressed with it. It was the first in a very long series, I think. I can't remember the person's name in it. I can always remember the story, but I can't always remember the names. But anyway, this woman who comes to see her grandmother finds out that her grandmother has died and left her knitting shop to her. And as time goes on in the story, it turns out that Graham was actually saved from death by a friend of hers who was a vampire and turned her instead. And they find out that Graham was murdered. So she doesn't remember who murdered her. Her memory hasn't come back yet. It's apparently it takes like 6 months to a year before the memories of everything surrounding your death would come back. So the woman that's there, and again, I wish I could remember her name. I wonder if I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, she is there, and she's trying to solve her grandmother's murder, and whoever murdered her grandmother is also now trying to murder her. So she's trying to decide whether she should trust the vampires and who she should trust, and what's going to happen, with that. And then, like many magical stories, she discovers that she has powers of her own. So it was really good. I would give it, I'm trying to think if there was anything I didn't care for about it. No, I feel like it was really good. So I would give it 5 stars. I thought it was excellent, and like I said, nothing I really didn't like about it. It was, and I remember enough of it to know that that I enjoyed it, and that I would like to listen to a second one. The narrator always plays a big part in whether you like audiobooks, I think, and the narrator for this one was really good as well. Sometimes I can't get into the narration because, especially if they're doing, if it's a woman doing a man's voice or a man doing a woman's voice, sometimes that throws you out of it, depending on how good they are at it. But this one was very good, I thought. Okay, so now I'm done. All right, so I hope you have a great day, friends. I'm gonna go put some ice on my back. Uh, I did something to make it worse, I guess. But anyway, it's not very good today, so I'll see what I can do about that and go take some cold medicine and try to make it a good Thursday. All right, hope you have a great day, friends. Bye bye.